Good evening, my name is Austin Covey and welcome to Texas Two-Step, where we break down the University of Texas Longhorns football team. Today we're going to talk a little bit about 2018-2019, some of the places that they had errors, some of the things they did right, and then going into 2019-2020, some of the improvements that we would like to see them make, particularly since after beating Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, they're now considered one of maybe the 5 or 6 top teams in college football. I think their record says that they're there, but on film you can look at them and you can still say they may be the top 5 or 6. They're still a long way away from, say, an Alabama or a Clemson. And so obviously distractions they had a lot of stuff going on off the field during the 2018 season. Tom Herman had a lot of stuff carry over from his Ohio State days with Zach Smith and all the Twitter battle that ensued. I think that should be wrapped up now. It's been silent for several months, so that sort of distraction should be away from Texas. And then the transfer issues that they had with Brew McCoy, where he came in from USC, went through spring ball, decided he wanted to go back to USC. A lot of distractions with that. That seems to be squared away. They had some distractions early in the offseason about whether Lil Jordan Humphreys and Colin Johnson were coming back for their senior year. And that's an area we would like to see them really improve with going into the 2019-2020 season. So one of the things we would like to do today is do some film breakdown. The biggest bad for them is just lack of discipline. They pass what you would call the eye test when they get off the bus. They all look great. They all look like NFL caliber players. They all look like they should be a top 5, top 4 team, but they just don't execute like a top 4 team. They don't handle their business on and off the field like a top 4 team. And so I know early in the season against Kansas State, there was a time when, a point in the game when they had 10 penalties, Kansas State had 0 penalties. And you can see it in their inability to finish games. They were really burying OU at one point, and then they let them come back into the game in the Red River Shootout. There were several times this year when they really played to the level of their opponent instead of burying teams that they should have buried. And part of that was just their inability to execute. And you can see in their highlights, they're clearly bigger, stronger, faster, and more athletic than the teams that they play. In mass. There's, when they play OU, it's pretty close. When they play Georgia, it's pretty close. But pretty much everybody else is just undermatched. But a lot of the other teams, like the Kansas States and Baylor came right down to the wire. There's no reason they should have come down to the wire against Baylor. Those teams are just executing better. They're playing more cleanly. Texas commits a lot of penalties. They miss a lot of assignments. They have a lot of poor execution in the passing game. They miss receivers. But there are times when Sam Ehlinger puts it in the ballpark and his receivers are big enough and strong enough to go get it. And so there's just, they just need to clean it up. When you watch the execution of, say, Alabama or Clemson, it's just much cleaner. It's much more well executed. It's much more well put together. And they just don't make those same kind of mistakes and errors. And so we'll focus on that a little bit in the film session. So we pick it up in the fourth quarter of the Sugar Bowl game, Texas versus Georgia. Texas scores a 2-point conversion here to go up 28-7 at the top of the fourth quarter. So 1 quarter to go, up 21 points. They should be able to put this game away no problem and go home with a win. So here we're at 1 minute and 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Georgia has managed another touchdown. Texas has gone 3 and out. Georgia has the ball back. And now they're down 28-14. They're driving, but the game is winding up. At this point, Texas should be able to put the game away. Either force them to drive at the field, burn a bunch of time, get a turnover, get a 3 and out, get the ball back in the football game. We have a senior playing corner, Devontae Davis, down here at the bottom. Typically, you would expect good discipline out of your seniors. We come through here with a helmet-to-helmet hit. He gets ejected from the football game for targeting. It's very clearly targeting. He hits it with the top of his helmet, celebrating it. I understand you want to make a good hit. Making a good hit is what football's all about. But targeting and costing your team both your ability to play the game and 15 yards at the end of the game, when all you need to do is get off the field, is really unacceptable. Here we're at 1st and 10, the very next play after that ejection. We have a freshman that has replaced the senior on the same side. Protection breaks down, quarterback scrambles. We get another targeting right here on the quarterback. And then we're going to get in a fight afterwards. We have Gary Johnson, another tenured player who wants to throw a punch afterwards. Again, if you could pick people that you would want in these positions, you would want your upperclassmen with lots of experience. And who are the ones making the errors? Your upperclassmen with lots of experience. You do have the freshman commit the targeting penalty, but you don't need an experienced player coming along behind him and making it even worse. And this inability to finish out a game cleanly really shows the lack of discipline. And I would like to thank the TV camera crew people, because this is a shot that I really think we got of Tom Herman on the sideline. I think this really explains why we're seeing some of the issues that we are. You just had 2 players get ejected at the end of the game, both for targeting players. You have another player throw a punch, and you're standing on the sideline laughing and joking about it. I used to coach. I know several people who coach. I don't know anybody who would think this situation is funny. You're about to give up a bowl game at the very end of the game. You're ahead in a game that you're not supposed to win. There's 54 seconds left. You've had players ejected on back-to-back plays. You had another player just commit a personal foul for throwing a punch, and you're standing on the sideline laughing about it. I don't think that sets the right tone for your team, but I do think that's an indicator of why we have some of the discipline problems out of this team that we do, why we have some of the lack of discipline that we do. Here's another great sideline shot we have. The player that's about to get ejected for targeting, standing around laughing and joking, everybody's laughing. There's nothing that I find funny about this situation. There's nothing that they should find funny about this situation. And there's really nothing that their coaches should find funny about this situation. Really, in this situation, he should be being disciplined for his lack of discipline. And instead, we're all going to stand around and laugh and joke about it and almost give up a game here at the very end. Now there's 22 seconds left in the game. 1st and goal for Georgia. This is the touchdown that actually puts them within 7 points. That was the result of both of those personal foul penalties. So the 2 targetings and the 3rd personal foul penalty ended up getting Georgia down there where they were able to score a touchdown, come within 7 points, and then have an onside kick with 14 seconds left in the game with the potential to get the ball back. Now, they were not able to convert the onside kick. Onside kicks are very low percentage conversion. But to even put them in a position when you should have been up 21 points and just burying them, it's the best example of lack of discipline that we saw out of Texas all year. It's really a culmination of, in my opinion, who they are as a team. They have the talent to be a great football team. They have the talent to beat teams like Georgia, who's taken Alabama down to the wire both of the last 2 years, but they just don't have the discipline to actually execute and put teams away like they need to, and to be able to reach that real elite level of play. And I think based on the reactions we saw from their coach and the reactions we saw from their players after some of these incidents, it's apparent it's a systemic issue, not a one-off player issue. And so that's something I would really like to see Texas clean up going into the 2019-2020 season. I think it's something they're really going to have to clean up if they want to reach that next level of elite football play.